Hi everyone, I'll be your professor for ECED 3012, Observation, Documentation, and Assessment. My name is Sherry Jacobs, and I'll give you a little bit of background about myself right now before we get into the course. I've been teaching at Mount Vernon. I think this is either my 8th or 9th year. I've worked at Tiffin and Ashland as well, and my background is both undergrad and graduate teacher education, and I've served as an academic coach, and I have also been instrumental in some of the information with instructing assessors for the resident educator program, which I'm assuming you guys have heard of by now. So just kind of give a couple disclaimers. I had oral surgery not that long ago, and sometimes my mouth gets really dry or my tongue gets twisted. So if you see me taking a swig out of my water bottle or kind of having difficulty going on, then you'll know why. I have a husband who is a really, really wonderful person. I have a little fur baby, spoiled a Shih Tzu named Bailey. I have a daughter who teaches English language learning and chairs that department for Olentangy. And I have a son who works as an attorney. So that's a little bit about my life there. We love to travel. We love to get together with friends. We like to play cards. We just like to have fun together as family and friends. So I've told you one disclaimer for this video, and I'm going to tell you one more, and that is that some of the videos you see after this welcome video will have an entirely different person in them. And the reasoning is for this is that as I went in to make them, they're very good videos and with some good content information. So I'll just be adding things to each area as we go along, but I'm going to leave those videos on there. So if you click on a video and you're going to watch doing a particular thing, then it may look like and sound like and actually is another person. So I appreciate your patience on that as well. That was very helpful to me since speaking a lot is still difficult. So let's go ahead and let's look at the syllabus for this class. It's a 5-week class, and so as you know, with a 5-week class, you cannot miss more than a week. So this is our text right here, Assessing and Guiding Young Children's Development and Learning. And this course description. I am not going to go through all of the stuff on each of the objectives and their ties to the Ohio State Teachers Standards or the NVNU Diversity or the Conceptual Framework or NAEYC. Those are all there for you to look through if you so choose. And the instructional goals promoted are what you have seen in other courses as well. And if this happens to be your first course, you can look on it too. Just making sure that we maintain our goals as an institution as you move through this course. As I mentioned before, the attendance and participation more than once in a course that's 5 to 6 weeks long will mean that you'll need to be not receiving a passing grade. Talking a little bit about our online classes, begin on Monday at 12 a.m. and end on Saturday at 11:59 p.m. You can always post things on a Sunday, but I just need to make sure that you understand that you must have at least one contribution each week to be kind of present for that class. And so it's really important that you do something during that week or you would be counted as being absent, even though you've done the work, and certainly that's not our goal here. So, and the late assignment policy is the same as well, 10% per day. And for the last night, there has to be an incomplete approved prior to the last night of class. And that's not something just for me. It's something that has to be approved higher up. So I'm going to encourage you to make sure you look ahead and get everything done that you need to get done. Because it's very hard to get granted that ability to turn in something late from the course unless there's an extremely good reason. So here are our academic integrity, also the same. Plagiarism, the same. The accessibility services, the same. Grading scale, the same way. And this is a breakdown of points. You have our discussion forums, which are 10 points each. You have 5 of them. The online learning module. For the online learning modules, have a variable point value, and they're totally worth 200 though. The chapter artifacts are worth 40 points each for 200, and your final project is the one that has the most points. It's an observe, record, and assess assignment that should really set you up for success as you understand how these processes work. And all I have down here basically is a breakdown for each of the weeks. There's an introduction video for each week, and it might not be called introduction. It might be called portfolios or whatever, but there'll be something on there from myself and or this other professor. And so, for example, week 1, the discussion forum, the initial post by Wednesday at 11:59, and the response by Saturday. These are always the same, folks, for the discussion forum. Your module 1, it's a a classroom assessment, part 1, and this is due on Wednesday. Each week, your modules are due on Wednesday. So I think it really helps to get a little continuity like that. And next is your reading and chapter artifacts. That those are due every week as well. And then for week 2, it kind of just, you'll notice there's a pattern here, and that talked about each week I try to remind you here about this reading and chapter artifacts, because, excuse me, not the reading and chapter artifacts, but the observe, record, and assess. So these things are all on there, and they're pretty good. They're really pretty good to use just to kind of keep you on your, like true to yourself with what you need to get finished on here. So one of the other things, in addition to printing that off for myself, then I would pull all of my rubrics and print those and keep those beside me as I'm working on this assignment, because it's easy enough to forget to do it and you're just looking at simple directions, but you need to be guided not just by those directions, but by the rubric itself, because you're obviously scored from the rubric. So the discussions rubric forum is the same. I'm going to pull this chapter artifacts one down here. Sorry about that. My apologies for having to stop the video there. Twice I've started doing it and been interrupted. So my apologies. I should not have even had the phone lying near me. We were left off where we were talking about the reading and chapter artifact. It's a very simple thing. The rubric is very simple. You'll see each of the elements going along the left-hand side. And of course, what you're going to be wanting to look at is where I get the most points. So you're going to be wanting to look all the way over on the right. Now we're going to look at your rubric for observe, record, and assess. I don't know why that's not coming up. We'll check on that in a little bit. These are the weekly artifact instructions. I don't know what's going on here that these do not want to pop up the way they should. My apologies for that. Here are the artifacts, the instructions for each week. They're with 40 points. You're basically choosing a digital artifact tool to help you to respond to your chapter readings. And you can do one of many things: highlight those important concepts, strategies, and learning ideas. For example, in week 1, you read chapters 1 and 3, and after you read them, you'll choose and create an artifact for summarizing both chapters. Notice that's bolded. That will be submitted on the Moodle site, and you'll need to choose a different digital artifact for each week. And my rationale for this is very simple. It's that you're exposing yourself to 5 chapter artifacts as opposed to 1. Here are the types: a summary of the most important points, making use of academic language and defining important terms, discussing issues, trends, or strategies presented in the text, or make an application to your role as an educator. And here are the things that you get to use to do that. You can create an infographic using a pictochart. You can create a document and use Now Comment to discuss. You can create an outline of the chapter in Word, and a lot of people tend to gravitate toward this because it's the known, but however, still remember that you need to have a different one for each week. Creating a YouTube video and discuss the requirements. Remember, if you do a YouTube video, you have to mark it as public. Create an animated video discussing the chapter. Write a 2-page summary in Word based upon the requirements. Create an assessment tool that was presented in the chapter and give a summary at the beginning of what was presented in the chapter and what your assessment tool is intended to measure. Create a Prezi. I think maybe that one's starting to cost money, and if it does, I certainly do not believe you need to use your money, so you have enough on your plate. And here's a type of assessment for the chapter material: quiz, multiple choice, no true and false, on a Word document, and you have to make sure that you write out the answer, highlight, bold, and so on. This may seem like an easy one, but it's kind of a hard one. And here are the assigned chapter readings that you'll be making these artifacts based upon. So we're going to get back to here. And we're going to look at the module rubric. I think that my computer is starting to ask for error. So this is basically a checklist / rubric, and it gives you, these are the questions that you're answering that are part of the directions for the module rubric, and this is just how many points you can get, and it's incremental. So look at the right side. We all want the right side. We all want all the points. So you'll notice this is the true, like I said, beacon of what we want, and then it goes down for each one. So you'll notice these are different for each week because the modules are different. So for this one, question 1, 6 possible points, and so on and so on. So that was the module for week 2. For week 3, those choices are the narrative and so on and so on. Week 4, again, just applicable to week 4, and the same thing for week 5 for a total of 60 points. The online discussion rubric, I'll pull that up. It should be the same kind you've been using in other classes, but it seems like that when we do online for these things, sometimes it is that kind of just gets fall into the wayside to remember these important parts about making sure that your initial post is 250 to 500 words, and that your response is 150 to 250, making sure that you're just not throwing, we all want to like give everybody kudos for what they're doing, but just knowing that you can't just say, hey, that was great, I enjoyed that, I enjoy having you in class. It's supposed to be things that are applicable to the course in the forum at that time. And remember, these are APA. So you have to have at least 2 resources. Okay. So this is how this kind of comes out. This is the course overview that I'm doing right now with you. And each week you'll see a learning outcomes and assignments section at the very top there. Here's where you would throw in your own instructional video, or excuse me, introduction video. Here is the week 1 discussion forum, the week 1 module, and the week 1 chapter artifacts. I've tried to lay these out with due dates the same each week so that it makes sense to you. So always the initial post Wednesday for the forum, and on Saturday, your response. The modules are always due Wednesday, and the artifacts are always due Saturday. So that's all we're going to do for today in talking about this. I think I've given you enough information. Know that anytime you need to reach me, email me or post something on Ask the Professor. And I'm usually excellent about getting back to you. The only time I'm not would be if I had an appointment or couldn't access my computer, which if you email it as opposed to Ask the Professor, I'll see it before I get back to my computer. So I'm so excited about having each and every one of you in this class and learning with you. So I will speak with you soon.